What's up, guys? It's Kastra, and today we're going to be talking about my track Feel Alright that I did with Buzzmeisters and Jacob Lee. I'm going to walk you through how we made it and the story behind it, and then at the end, I'm going to be telling you about a remix contest that we're running with Bourne, where you can get your remix signed as the official remix. So, stick around. Okay, so right now we are inside the project file for Feel Alright. And if you look at the top, you'll notice it actually doesn't say Feel Alright. The title of it is They Love. So the way this song originally started was Buzzmeisters chopped a vocal sample out of out of Love on Me by Galantis. And then they chopped it up and rearranged it and then sent it to me, and then we basically built the song around it. So this is what the original sample sounded like after they had chopped it up. So if you'll notice, that's actually really similar to the actual vocal track that we ended up using, the one that Jacob recorded. It's the same melody. Instead, his is just this one. So instead of... So it's the same melody and same rhythm, it's just actual lyrics instead of a vocal chop. So when we originally built the track, it was around this this vocal chop. So it sounded kind of in context like this. Which does work. The only problem is it kind of felt the same when you transition from the break to the drop. There's not really a whole lot of contrast there. It's still kind of the same sound. So we sent it over with that vocal sample over to Bourne, and they really liked it, but they felt that we should get a vocal. So we ended up getting Jacob Lee, and he was incredible. So I figured we'd start with the vocals since they were actually the last thing to be brought to the track. So after a couple times just going back and forth with the lyrics, we ended up with the current take, and there's a couple things we could do with the processing here. The first one is a little bit of auto-tune, just kind of keeping him in check. I used Waves Tune, which is something I recently got, and it's really good. I used to have auto-tune from Antares, but I had the 32-bit version, and it was just a pain in the ass running 32-bit in a 64-bit Ableton. And then I used CLA Vocals, which is just a powerhouse of a plugin. The quickest way to get a good sounding vocal is probably with this plugin. It's got all the basic controls, and you kind of just got everything at your fingertips. I used a little bit of everything, I guess. The top end sounds really nice. It doesn't distort. It's not harsh. You can push it up a little bit just to push it above the mix. The compressor is really nice. And then I used a chamber verb and a quarter note delay to kind of give it some space and push it in the back of the mix a little bit. And then it's just a little bit of stereo widening. And then just a little bit sidechain and cut the lows out. So then when you have this playing, when the hook came in, just to beef it up a little bit, we added a pitch down layer right here. So in context, when you play them together, it sounds like this. You know I feel alright, it just kind of occupies a different frequency spectrum, so it makes the chorus feel a little bit fuller. So when we get to the build, let's see. So we get to the build, and if you take this out, when you transition from the break to the build, it feels like a little bit empty. It's just missing something. So we added these little chops in here just to help bridge it from the build to the drop. So if you add these in, it kind of fills in the spaces a little bit. And then when it gets towards the end, you just pitch it up a little bit, an octave. I think it was an octave. Yep, so I bounced it down and then just pitched it up an octave. And then that's really it. I mean, the vocals really aren't that complicated. Like I said, the song was basically already built before we got the vocals. So we kind of just had to make the vocals fit the track. And it really wasn't that hard, actually, especially when you're using the similar melody. Okay, so we've got that so far. Let's go over to the drums. We'll start off with the kick. The kick I think I got from my buddy Aylin. I'm not totally sure. I don't really remember, but I think I do. I'm pretty sure I got it from a track that we were collaborating on at the time. So it's a good kick. It's got a really nice attack to it, and it's really not that bassy. So you know, when we get to the bass, I'll kind of show you. It's good to have a really short, not bassy kick like this when you have a long sustaining bass line, because they don't kind of get in the way of each other. So kick's not that complicated. I don't think there's a whole lot of processing on it. Just bounced it down to mono, and then you know, this little notch here around 900. That's it. So we've got the kick and then the drum loops. We'll break these down a little bit. The crazy just crash, a couple of layers of claps. Pretty sure this one's just from Vengeance. Yep. And then here, I'll put a snare drum underneath, a tuned snare drum. Let's see, this one is C sharp. So I think I changed it though. I think I changed the key. Because if it's an E major, oh no, that's right. Because it's E major, which is C sharp minor. Okay, so that's why I use the C sharp snare. So let's see. You got the claps together. You got the snare and clap together. They sound like this. I think that's it. There might be one more layer. Nope, that's it. So they sit really nicely together on top of the kick. And then there's just a couple of additives here that kind of reverses, that kind of just keep the loop moving along. They've got, you know, these like little shakers. And these reverses up here. This thing's keeping it interesting. It's moving all up. If you have too much of a straight loop, it just kind of gets interesting. You should have a good drum groove when you start adding things on top of it. Yeah, I mean, nothing that complicated. It's just like, you know, really hammering out the groove to make it fit well with the bass. And then there's a section over here, I think. Yeah, okay. So there's a little breakbeat section here. Here, it sounds like this. Yeah, nothing, I mean, it's basically just a kick and a snare, but then I put a loop on top of it. So you've got this, just all Vengeance stuff. I mean, it's really not that complicated. The hard part is the vocal chops, and we get to that. And you put it together, with the loop. And you have the breakbeat. And then what I did was I side chained everything, like the pianos and the bass and everything, to this kick drum, so it kind of pumps with it. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the drums. Is there any processing on it here? There's just a little bit of sausage fat in there, and then just some Pro C, just you know, a little bit of bus compression. Again, nothing too complicated when it comes to the drums. Okay, so when we get to the pianos and just the synths, I just labeled the whole group pianos. So you've got the main thing is here is from Addictive Keys. It's a really, really nice sounding grand piano. And then pretty sure I just layered it with another octave lower. Yeah. You've got two pianos here, just one's an octave lower. But then I have this Korg layer right here. So this is coming from the M1. It kind of gives you that old school housey piano sound. You know, I'm sure you've heard it like a million times in every house track from the 90s. So it's a like more attacky piano. So when you combine it with these, and it's following the same exact chord progression. It's just in rhythm now. And what I did is when I like to write, I like to get everything out as fast as I can. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to use this thing called the key lock, I think it's called. And basically what it does is when you're writing, because I'm not the most proficient piano player, but when you're writing, you can snap everything in key. And this is in E major or C sharp minor. It's the same thing. It's just a relative minor. So if you put this in C sharp minor and then write, everything is going to be snapped to key. And there's one more layer of piano during the breakbeat section. It's basically the same piano, but I added an arpeggiator onto it. Sounds like this. All together with pianos in this section. That's it for pianos. Okay, so, and then we moved over here. I think I just added some pads. Yep, nothing crazy here. Chill Zone 2. Chill Zone 2 from Nexus. Following the same thing, just kind of gives it some vibe. And then this I bounced down from Contact. This, I forget what it is. It's a really good Contact library that does vocals. And this is like a chorus sound, like a choir. It just sounds really good. It gives it really good vibe. So all together you have the synth section going like this during the break. And it moves over to okay. And then all the while during that, there's all these little effects that I cut out, a couple of different synths that I worked in that just give it a little bit more vibe. To start off, there's this pack from, I guess it's the Siren Vocal Pack. It's really awesome. They have all these things labeled by key. So you can just find a vocal reverse and then find in the key your song, and it's pretty prominent in this part. If you listen right here, this is the sound. So when it leads in, it's just really nice how it drops in there, and all I did was reverse it here. So that's a great pack. I forget who makes it. Oh, it's Black Octopus Sound. There you go. And then there's just a couple of reverses. Oh, that's actually a vocal reverse from the original vocal. This is something that we use in the drop, but I think I just put a lot of delay on it. Yeah. Then another reverse. And then this. Oh, this is I was listening to a lot of Future bouncy stuff at the time. I found this patch that I really liked. And a lot of delay on it. I mean, these things, they sound so minor, but when you add them up in the context of a track, it really does make a difference. I mean, if you were to take these out of the break, they sound so plain. Oh, here we go. I mean, that just doesn't do it. If you put these back in there. It just makes it so much more interesting for the listener. All these kind of little things, like nuances you might not notice unless you're listening to it on headphones. But it really does help bridge the gap until the vocal comes in and takes over. Okay, we've got that. Let's see. I think it might be time to go to the drop. Okay, so we will start with the basses. So I was kind of going for, if you listen to 5 Hours by Dioro, it has that really cool chunky kind of slap bass sound. So the bass has a couple different layers. These. So you've got this is one of my favorite. I'm sorry, this is the slap bass preset from Nexus 2. All right, let's just run them with the drums. So you've got. Okay. Then underneath that, there's a sub layer. And then there's these little additives right here, which I think I cut out from this Vengeance thing. It just kind of helps it move it along again. So, and then during the break, there's bass here from Nexus. So this is like my favorite bass patch to use during breaks. I use it all the time. It's like really, really well balanced. It's in the guitars expansion. It's called Electric Bass 1. And I use it all the time for breaks. Just really, really fills out the low end really, really well there. You remove that, it kind of loses all the oomph. And then so we've got that for the drop. We got the brace down, and then there's these couple of, I think there's 1 or 2 synth layers on top here. We got this one, which is basically just like a sawtooth. So you got that underneath. Bounce this down so we can see exactly what it is. Then you got the bass underneath. Okay, so all together. And then I'm pretty sure that's it for the synths, and then you just got the vocal chops on here. Now the vocal chops is obviously the main part of the song, and they were the hardest to do. It took me a couple different tries to get it right, and then but once I got it, I really knew we had something here. Where are they? Ah, oh, and there's a guitar in there, but I'll show that later. Okay, so the vocal chops are this part. All right, now there's a lot of different ways to do vocal chops. I know a lot of people like to throw them. I think in what's an FL, it's called splice or slice X, I think. And in Ableton, we have a slice to MIDI function, but this I just did it up in audio. So you had, I guess that's just pitched up an octave, or maybe it's even from. Yeah, okay, so that's from, so there, that's the first hit right there. And then from there, I just kind of rearranged the entire thing, pitching it up and down. Up here, it's pitched up 7, 0. Look down here. 0, 4. It takes a really long time to do this, but it ends up sounding really, really cool, especially when you get the right melody. So it's not that complicated of a thing to do. It's just it's time consuming. So basically what I do, I just turn it off. And once you have the foundation like that, I mean, it's not as hard. So yeah, I just kind of chopped it up. Let me see what the processing is here. Basically just cutting the low end here, waves tune, keeping it in check again. You've got OTT, the one from Kashmir. I basically just bounced that out of, I think one of the projects that he put on Splice, I think. And then just a couple other things like DS, or it's obviously really, really harsh. The de-esser is kind of taking out the harshness from there. And then let me see. I'm pretty sure they like bounce back and forth here. Yeah, see they overlap, so I had to make 2 channels here. Okay. All right, so I just want to go over the fills too. The fills are just I think I made one, or I... Oh no, here's another one. Got 2 drum fills, and then there's a synth fill that I actually used in the break as well. I'm not sure where I got this. I may have made it myself. I'm not totally sure. It's just this really, really quick chiptune sounding synth. I think we actually used that in, or a similar variation of that in our Ed Sheeran remix. But it just kind of goes up and down. And then here's a section of it I just chopped out. All together. So it's just kind of a nice turnaround before all the rest of the drum loop comes in. And then, okay, and then the last part of the track is just some guitar. I think I originally had played some actual guitar that I had recorded, but then I found this sample that just seemed to really fit in there. And you put it together with piano. I mean, it just works. It's you got to go with whatever works. Like honestly, the guitar part that I had played just didn't sit as good as like that, and it was also an electric guitar. I felt the acoustic guitar kind of added a little bit more to it in this spot. So that's about it for this song. I know it's kind of a long video, and it could have been way longer. I just don't have the time to go do every single section of the song. But I did my best to show you the main parts of it. If you have any, further questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Just shoot them down in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them. But yeah, let me tell you about this remix contest. So that's basically how the song was made. I hope you guys liked it. We really enjoyed making it. I think it came out really, really well. I think I'm going to try to do more of these kinds of videos more often, so make sure you hit the subscribe button. And yeah, let me just tell you about this remix contest we've got going on. So if you head over to Bourne Recordings Facebook, or I believe I posted on Facebook as well, you can grab the acapella for this song. So basically what you can do is you have until October 27th to make your version of the song. Do your remix, any kind of genre, whatever you want to do, and then send it to me on Facebook or Instagram, and then we're going to go through all the submissions and pick the best ones, and the winners are going to get a official release on Bourne Recordings, which is pretty cool. So actually, now that I think about it, October 27th isn't that long, so I'm going to see if I can get the submission date pushed a couple of days. So yeah, follow me on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, whatever, just to keep up with that, and then you see how long you have for the submission. So thanks again. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.